Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pillar to Post. This is your host, Pete Wall, and as you can hear, my voice is trashed. Now, on top of wrecking my throat during the weekend broadcasts of Friday Fight Night, Warfare, and Suicide Sunday for Big Dog Wrestling, I caught a little bit of a flu. So, if you start seeing me doing a little bit of sweating here, you know the reason why. Now, as you might have noticed, I did not put up a review show for the pay-per-view called Battleground this past weekend. Big reason for that. There's a lot of people, a lot of podcasters here already doing what I would have done for Battleground, and that's shit all over that pay-per-view. So I didn't feel like I needed to really do that. I figured there was a lot more people out there capable of throwing a rant out there about such a crappy fucking pay-per-view that made you want to sit there and throw up and shit yourself at the same time and then go to the bathroom and do it all over again. Because frankly, you know what? I'm going to put it this way. The Punjabi prison match and the flag match, you could have basically had those as the same type of match, because the goal in those matches was to run for your life instead of putting up a good fight. You had both Rusev and John Cena really aiming just to take their flag down and run up the ramp and win the match, instead of actually defending their country, putting on a solid fight, wearing your opponent down, beating them down till they just couldn't get up, then go up and grab the flag and take up on the podium. That's what should have happened. Instead, you've got both guys gunning for the same thing. That is to grab the flag, run for your damn life, put it up there, and as many fucking botched scenes that there was in that match alone was ridiculous. On top of that, you've got your Punjabi prison match, the same deal. The first thing they want to do, run for the hills, escape the cage, because that's how you got to win. I'm sorry, folks. Could have been done in a fucking steel cage match. But tonight is all about Monday Night Raw, folks. And if you thought you escaped all the crap and the bullshit that we've seen this weekend on Battleground, well, god damn it, folks, we walked right into another shitstorm going into Monday Night Raw tonight. Now, I'm going to be honest. I brought in a co-host tonight because my throat's wrecked. And to do what I want to do to this show, I just don't think I could do it justice. So I brought in a good friend of mine, Tyler Black. Now, Tyler Black, welcome to Pillar to Post. You know how I run things around here.
Yep.
We run a pretty damn tight crew here, and I always bring close friends on. That's why I asked you to come on tonight. So how's your night going?
My night's been good, Pete. It's been great.
Now, I would have liked to have you up on video right along beside me here on the video, but OBS has given me a little bit of a problem. I might as well have gotten kicked in the balls like Shinsuke Nakamura did this weekend, because that's about as much as I'm getting from OBS tonight. But
that's right. I can't even use Skype anymore when I do my podcast.
Yeah, I know, it's getting ridiculous there. But we started the show off like always. Okay, we get a nice start to the show. We get a knockdown drag-out brawl between three of the toughest motherfuckers in the business. And I'm giving a little bit of credit there to Roman Reigns. Not very uncharacteristically of me to do so, but it was a really good brawl. And it broke down to Kurt Angle coming out and announcing that at SummerSlam, it would not be just one-on-one against Brock Lesnar. No, it would be a fatal four-way between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and the monster among men who is never done with anybody, Braun Strowman. Now, I always like to give Braun Strowman a really good, hefty call-out, because the guy is phenomenal in the ring. The power this man has. And you've seen it tonight, right, Tyler?
Uh-huh. I like what Braun Strowman's doing.
Like I like what they're doing with him. They're building.
Strowman's like one of my favorite wrestlers at this point in time.
And what he did tonight was basically phenomenal. He took care of that security crew, and that when you see security in WWE, basically they've hired a bunch of independent wrestlers from that city to come on in, play security, and they usually end up getting tossed around, beat down, and boot fucked. And Braun Strowman did a pretty damn good job of boot fucking those boys tonight. He sent one guy flying over the top rope, landed very precariously up on the ramp, beautiful sight, and trashed the rest of them. And it took not only a coquina clutch to take him down at the end, but it took a spear from Roman Reigns as well. So
I agree with that.
Now, it didn't stop there, you know. He still stood strong at the end. We had a lot of WWE superstars come in there to try and stop him and break up the fight that ensued between Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman. But in the end, like it usually is, Braun Strowman stood tall at the end. And in my opinion, I think it would be time to give this guy his due diligence and actually let him carry that ball, as in the Universal title at SummerSlam. Let it go to Braun Strowman. Let's see what this guy can do as a champion. We all know he needs a little bit of extra work. But in the end, I think it's his time to actually do some shining around here. And Samoa Joe's right there alongside him, you know. He could really carry that title and make it worthy of something. But who do you think's going to walk away at SummerSlam as champion? Is it going to be Brock Lesnar heading into WrestleMania, or are they going to actually have him lose it to one of these big sons of bitches?
Well, the way the rumors are going, with them, they're thinking of him going back to UFC. Most people are saying it's going to be Reigns becoming the champion, so it'll set up him and Cena at WrestleMania.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that, bro. Not at all. Now, I've actually fell asleep through part of this show. Now, as you guys know, I suffer from insomnia. I'm not the healthiest bastard among the bunch, but my wife thinks it's funny.
Neither am I.
And she jokes around with my daughters a lot because when wrestling comes on, when WWE comes on and it's Raw, I fall asleep basically right after the first segment. And then I wake up an hour later. It's like my body's already got used to the first hour being complete shit. So it takes his rest break there, wakes up halfway through to watch the rest of the shit show that is Monday Night Raw. And, you know, so I'm going to need a little bit of Tyler's help to clue me in on what all went down up to 9:30. So we had our first opening segment, which I did catch. Now, Angle welcomed the WWE Universe to the show. He notes that he had a private matter that distracted him from his GM duties. Last week, Angle introduced us to his son, Jason Jordan. He announced that Jason will have his first match on Monday Night Raw tonight. Now, Jordan is only being given an opportunity. It's up to Jordan to make the most of it. But speaking of opportunity, Angle gave Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns one last week. Braun Strowman had other plans. As Angle is about to announce who will face Lesnar at SummerSlam, Strowman's music hits. Out comes Strowman, power walks down to the ring, and gets in Angle's face. Now Strowman says the next word out of Angle's mouth better be Braun Strowman, or else. Now Strowman, one of his matches at Great Balls of Fire, unlike Reigns and Joe. Now Strowman says Lesnar fears Strowman. Strowman is going to break Lesnar in half. And Samoa Joe stomps down to the ring right after that. Now Joe says Strowman is lucky because they have never crossed paths until now. Joe says he is the man who came within seconds of putting Lesnar to sleep. And he is the one who doesn't fear Lesnar at all. Now Joe gets really close to Strowman and adds that he doesn't fear Strowman either. Angle steps between the two and breaks it up. Joe adds that as a courtesy, he isn't going to kick Strowman's teeth down his throat. Reigns and Strowman have unfinished business, and Angle should let those two finish up and give Lesnar to Joe. Now, Reigns has heard enough and decides to make his way out to the ring at this point. Reigns says Joe hasn't done anything and Strowman has only been here for a hiccup. Reigns runs down his list of accomplishments. As you always know, he's going to bring up defeating Undertaker. Now, Reigns tries to get in Joe's face, and Angle splits those two up after that. Angle says everyone has made valid points. He books a fatal four-way for the Universal Championship match. Joe yells at that he should be getting a one-on-one match against Lesnar. Now, Strowman says he doesn't care how many people are in the match. He only cares about stacking bodies. Now, Reigns tells Strowman to shut up and decks him. Joe and Reigns double team on Strowman. Reigns and Joe dump Strowman over the barricade, and Joe punches Reigns in the throat. As Joe is beating down Reigns, Strowman hits the ring and destroys everyone inside. Angle calls for security, which is quickly dispatched by Strowman. Joe jumps on Strowman's back and locks in the coquina clutch. Excuse me, my voice is failing me here. The WWE locker room empties to try and break it up. Reigns spears Strowman and Joe at the same time. Strowman hits the running power slam on Reigns and basically just cleans house. Dispatched of all of the security, all of the WWE superstars, was phenomenal. Now that is the way I like to see a Raw start off. The sad thing is, though, as my guest can tell you, it went downhill pretty quickly from there.
It did. That turned into a freaking brawl.
Now, like I stated at the beginning of the show, it was a lot of friction right at the beginning of the match, and it's a nice way to start the show off. But it's like they tread water after that. And if anyone knows any swimming analogies, treading water is where you're basically in one spot in the water and you're just treading it so you don't sink. Yep. And that's what this show was about tonight. It was all about treading water. Basically getting from after the first segment to the end of the show, hoping that the fans are going to love what they put on. And frankly, I'm not loving what I'm seeing anymore. How about you, Tyler?
Nope. I'm not loving it either. It's bullcrap what Raw keeps giving us week in and week out. It's their poor booking.
It is. They need to get rid of everyone in their creative writing team. Excuse me. I shouldn't even be smoking.
You gotta get rid of Kevin Dunn. Worse. Kevin Dunn don't know how to write shit. He's gotta go.
You've got Kevin Dunn. You've got Vince McMahon doing some writing. You've got Road Dogg Jesse James. You've got who else is in there? You've got
Michael Hayes.
Yes, Michael P.S. Hayes, otherwise known as Doc Hendricks, for you guys that don't know who P.S. Hayes is. And they're doing such a shit job of this that I don't really even want to cover the shows anymore. I'd rather do the booking for Big Dog Wrestling and make people excited to tune in. Because if you guys haven't watched the shows on the weekend, man, I bust my ass off to put on one of the best wrestling shows through the PS4 that I can. And then I tune into Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and I'm wondering, what the fuck? How can I do something better? Go for 5 hours straight in a live stream with a PS4 2K17 game for WWE and keep people riveted, and you can't do that for 3 fucking hours on a live Raw show. Does not make sense to me. Because obviously I can stay awake to do a live stream for 5 fucking hours, but you guys can't even keep me awake for a fucking hour on your show, and I'm passing out. But I digress. Let's move on to the show. So we had our opening segment, the beatdown. Strowman stood tall. And then we get an in-ring segment with Elias Sampson. And as you all know, it happens every damn time this man's going to cut a promo. He gets interrupted. But this is where I fell asleep through, and I do apologize for that. Now, clue me in what happened here in this Elias Sampson intro.
Elias Sampson, all he was doing is, is crappy, trying to sing, and all this crap, which I could care less for anyway. But, and then he got interrupted by Finn Balor.
Yep. Now, this was turned into a no disqualification match between Finn Balor and Elias Sampson. Now, I had to grab some notes, like I said, because I did fall asleep through this part. So, Sampson asked the crowd, who wants to walk with Elias Sampson? Sampson says last week he hurt one of his babies, and he's motioning to the guitar. Now, Sampson doesn't like to do that because he loves these things. A loud "We Want Balor" chant breaks out. Sampson says he has a song he wrote about Balor. Sampson starts to do his best impression of the world's worst singer in the history of music. Thankfully, Finn Balor interrupts, like Tyler Black said. Now, this wasn't a very long match. I don't know. You're going to have to clue me in what happened during this match there, Tyler.
What happened? It was a low, decent match. Finn Balor went up, he hit coup de grace, then the lights went out. Bray Wyatt came out, hit Sister Abigail, and Eli Sampson won. That's pretty much.
I woke up right at the end of this match. And right where the lights went out, we had Bray Wyatt appear out as if out of nowhere after the lights turned on, hits the Sister Abigail, and then he basically lets Sampson level Balor with a chair. Yep. And then, sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Okay, the lights go out, Bray Wyatt appears and lays Balor out with Sister Abigail. Sampson crawls over Balor's limp body and gets the 1-2-3. Elias Sampson wins this match due to Bray Wyatt's interference. But after the match, this is where I woke up, we had Bray Wyatt crab walk over Balor, which is impressive for the size that is Bray Wyatt. Crab walking over top of another person. It's quite the feat of nature for that guy. So, what were your bottom line thoughts of this match?
My bottom line thoughts? It was a great opening match. It was good. Elias Sampson kept working on the injured arm. And he focused on it throughout the whole match. Finn Balor started hitting, that basement drop kick he does in the corner and the barricade.
Yeah.
And then he went up top, he hit coup de grace. That's when the lights went out and Bray Wyatt hit Sister Abigail out of nowhere.
Now, my problem, though, with what they're doing with Bray Wyatt, he's flip-flopping between feuds so often, it doesn't even make sense anymore. He was going after Seth Rollins. He was going after, who else before that? Let's
see, who was it? It was,
since he come to Raw,
when he moved to Raw, it started with Finn Balor, then he started with.
It's so back and forth, though. It's like he never really completes a feud. They have him in there just to basically, flip-flop these days. He's not really being able to build his character up. He's being held down because of this shit. And look at Finn Balor, another case. He's got this feud now with Elias Sampson as well as Bray Wyatt. And the thing is, this guy was the undefeated Universal Champion, and he's been basically relegated down to mid-card status. And it doesn't make sense at all. Now he's got to contend with two guys. One of them claims, follow the buzzards. The other one says, walk with Elias Sampson. It's almost like they've got a very similar character build-up here. So are they going to make this a unit
Yep.
now? Bray Wyatt and Elias Sampson? They might as well at this point. They're building them up the same fucking way. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Very similar comments being made by both men. And then both of them going after Finn Balor. It makes absolutely no sense why this is happening. The story behind it is just falling flat upon me.
Yep.
Now, after
That's
this,
why it's SummerSlam.
it does. It
That's
makes
right.
it makes the fans so undecided with who they want to follow in WWE these days, because they're flip-flopping these guys so much, and then, you know, no one's really got a good character build-up anymore. You've got a promo guy that has the abilities of Bray Wyatt and the talent of Bray Wyatt, and they don't know what to do with the guy, so they just keep on bouncing him around from one guy to another, and they don't care if it makes sense.
No, they don't. They don't care if it makes sense. That's why at SummerSlam, it's going to be the return of Finn Balor being the Demon.
I really hope so. I really hope they bring the Demon back, because it's good to see Finn Balor switch over to the Demon at the pay-per-views. It's like it gives his character a little extra edge. And when he goes for those big moments, it seems like it's a lot more impressive as well. You know? He's brought the Demon King back out, giving him that otherworldly energy and presence. And to fight a guy like Bray Wyatt, who claims he's the god of wrestling, you kind of need that extra little spunk in your system to actually take a guy like that on and make it amazing. And these two can put on an amazing match, I have no doubt about it. But I figured, you got a guy like, I'm talking about Battleground here, Shinsuke Nakamura, and then you've got the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin, and that was, frankly, the worst match I've ever seen Shinsuke in at all since his main card debut.
I totally agree with that. I thought most of it was good, but the ending, why would you book that ending? Low blow? Come on.
And it's not like Baron Corbin needed to win. He's already got the briefcase. He can go in and cash it in at any time he wanted. But instead they have him take the low blow to Shinsuke, win that way. Meanwhile, they could have really put Shinsuke over with this match. Could have made it a legit beat-down, drag-out fight between the two. And it was just a shit match in the end. And that's what I'm a little bit worried about Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. Could it end up being the same way?
Yeah, and Finn Balor's Willie never got a rematch at the Universal title, and he's the first ever champion.
Exactly. You know, so many of us podcasters have talked about this. They hardly even mention it, that he's never got a rematch. They like to mention that he was the very first Universal Champ. But they don't like to say that
I've said this
never
on my
received a
podcast.
rematch. What was that?
I've said it on my podcast.
Yep. Now, after this first match, we get another backstage segment. This time, Angle tells Renee Young that Jordan didn't want to wait. He wanted to prove he could do this all on his own. As a father, Angle has butterflies in his stomach. Now, Emma walks in and says she doesn't understand why she is sitting on the sidelines while people who used to look up to her are main eventing shows. What does she have to do to get noticed around here? Emma says maybe she will start dating Angle's son. Angle is appalled for some reason. I don't know why. Emma's a one hot chick. I'd love my son to be dating her, you know? And Angle tells Emma she has every right to prove herself. Tonight she can do it in the ring with Nia Jax. Now Emma immediately realizes that she regrets everything she just said, as she realized her opponent of the night is Nia Jax. Not too bad of a segment. I really didn't understand why Angle would have been appalled for Jason Jordan in a relationship with someone like Emma. You've got a beautiful woman standing in front of you, and you're going to be appalled that she suggests maybe she should be dating Angle's son? Like, that's totally stupid. You know?
Totally. Totally.
Made no sense. After that, we get another backstage segment, this time with Enzo Amore, and he's on his way to the ring. Big Show tells him he shouldn't go out there tonight. Enzo says he knows last week he didn't go according to plan. Tonight he has a new plan. He doesn't need a plan. He has to do this. And he makes his way out to the ring. As he's in the ring, he says the key that starts his engine is all the WWE Universe. He begins dancing around the ring while making even more race car analogies before quoting Drake. And holy crap, I think I just gave up, you know? Okay, so Enzo quickly goes on to say that there is only one word that describes Big Cass. As you all know, it's S-A-W-F-T, soft. And that was the segue into our Enzo Amore and Big Cass match. And we all know what happened. You know, this was just a pointless match. It was so.
It was a squash match.
Yes, it was a squash match. There's no reason Enzo needs to be trying to be fighting a guy that's 7 feet fucking tall. With the limited skills he's got. You know, it makes absolutely no sense. Now, what happened at the end of this? Well, you know what? The match is so short, I can go through the match real fucking quick. Enzo drops Cass in the knee, attempts to drop kick him again, but Cass swats it away. Enzo manages to lock in a sleeper. Cass drives Enzo into the corner, drives Enzo down to the mat. Cass lands a few elbows, followed by a boot to Enzo's gut. Cass slams Enzo head first into the turnbuckle. Get a running boot by Cass. That's it. It's a wrap for the evening for Enzo. Your winner, Big Cass. Basically the gist of the match. Nothing really there for substance. And I don't know if Tyler agrees with me, but at this point, Enzo should be made into a manager.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Totally, 100%.
He's got a big mouth. It can draw a lot of attention to a lot of big guys. And why not have this little guy managing guys like Big Show or Big Cass? You know, it would make more sense than him being a tag team partner. You know, it just doesn't make sense why he's fighting Cass at all. I know Cass turned on him and everything, but legitimately, is there any way that this guy even has a shot to beat a big guy like Big Cass?
No, not a chance. Not a chance in hell.
Now, after the match, Cass beats down Enzo some more. Big Show walks to the ring. Cass threatens to snap Enzo's neck if Show gets into the ring. Naturally, Show gets into the ring anyway. Cass pushes Enzo into Show, boots Big Show in the face. Cass lands multiple Empire elbows, lays the Big Show down. So, you know, he gets a twofer tonight. He got to beat up on Enzo, got to beat up on Show. So, and everyone knows they're going to use Show to put over Big Cass in the end. It's going to happen.
Yep, it is. It's going to happen because the Big Show is going to put him over.
Yep. Well, you know, everyone knows Big Show's planning on retiring probably at this coming, after this coming WrestleMania. He's probably going to be done.
Yep.
And what better uses for the guy after he's been busting his ass off in the gym to improve his health, improve his fitness and everything, but to put over every fucking guy. And look it, okay, I like Big Cass. He sucks on the mic. He doesn't have that much of a talent inside the ring yet. He needs more time to learn. Why not have Big Show or some other guys teaching this guy better mic skills as well as better in-ring tactics than the limited moveset that he's got? You know? It makes absolutely no sense to me at all. After that match, we go get another backstage segment. This time Alexa Bliss talking, says she's waiting to watch two best friends rip each other apart tonight. Bayley and Banks are fighting to have the honor of losing to her at SummerSlam. But up next is Nia Jax taking on Emma. And if you tuned into Raw tonight, it was another very quick match. And frankly, I just didn't see the point of it. You know, give these women a bit more time in the ring. This was like a couple of minute match and it was done. So what were your thoughts on Nia Jax taking on Emma tonight there, Tyler?
My thoughts, just simple, just very simple. Squash match again.
Yep.
Because Nia Jax, my opinion, Nia Jax should be women's champion. Should be. She should be the women's champion right now. Hands down. Look at her. Look at her.
The size of her, yes, but
she's a powerhouse.
She does have a limited set of moves that she uses, and that leaves her wide open for a lot of attacks as well. But when she's facing someone like Alexa Bliss, I see that as a squash match. Okay? See her fighting someone like Bayley, I see it as a squash match. Now, Emma, she's got a lot more talent than people give her credit for. Bayley does too, but the way that she's been used pretty well basically just sucks ass since she came to the main roster. Yeah, like Tyler said, this was nothing but a complete squash match. Emma got destroyed here. Nia Jax went on to win the match. Nothing really left to say. And we go for another backstage segment. This time, Akira Tozawa has his shoulder all taped up. Titus O'Neil walks in and says, "We all know Tozawa isn't healthy enough to compete." He goes on to say he spoke with Angle and the medical staff and got the match pulled. Now Tozawa says he wants his match now. He marches to the ring. O'Neil follows behind him. Now Tozawa tells O'Neil to stay in the back, but O'Neil doesn't listen. Tozawa pushes O'Neil, and we get Tozawa to the ring by himself. Now, I like it that Tozawa's sticking up for himself, but clearly, if you have that serious of an injury, there's no way medical's going to clear you for a match. There's no way your GM's going to clear you for a match. But he comes out anyway, challenges Daivari to come to the ring and face him like a man, but instead he got Neville. Neville comes to the ring. Neville says everything that is happening to Tozawa is because of him. Neville broke Tozawa's confidence. Neville says he tried to warn Tozawa about following the false promises of Titus O'Neil. He also calls Tozawa a joke and a shell of his former self. Now Tozawa decks Neville and hits a top rope senton. Daivari runs to the ring and attacks him from behind while Davari's clutching his shoulder, possibly re-injuring it. That's the way the storyline's going anyway. Daivari levels Tozawa with the Cobra Twist Lariat and then picks up Neville and hits the Cobra Twist Lariat again and takes both men out, basically saying and staking his claim, I am the next in line for that Cruiserweight title, which I kind of liked. It was a nice way for Daivari to come out and state, this is who I am and this is what I want. What did you think of this segment there?
Well, I thought about the segment. I thought it was great that Daivari came out and basically just clotheslined him to hell, which I liked that segment actually. It was a good segment.
It wasn't a bad segment, even from Tozawa and Neville's part. We've seen a little bit of a different side of Neville tonight. He was a lot more cocky and a lot more, I don't know, he was grinning a lot more than he usually does. Usually he's like pissed off, intense, and in your face. Tonight he was more poking fun at Tozawa and trying to get a laugh at his expense. And he paid for it in the end. He got beat down first by Tozawa, and then after Tozawa hit that senton off the top rope, re-injured his shoulder, Daivari seen the opening, made it clear, I deserve a shot, and I really love what Daivari did here tonight. I can't complain about what he did.
I can't complain about it either. I actually enjoyed it.
Now, we move in to another backstage segment, and if you haven't noticed, this is what Raw's turned into. It's get a couple of very short matches, and then a whole shitload of promos and segments in the locker room. That's what's pissing me off. We're not seeing the gritty wrestling of old anymore. We're seeing a lot of talking and not enough in your face, slap the taste out of your opponent's mouth, kick him in the balls, and walk away, make it a good show. No, we don't get that anymore. We get a whole lot of talking, not enough, slug them out, let's deal with our problems like men and women and beat the snot out of each other. We're going to talk things out. So like I said, backstage, Banks says she can't believe Bliss said those things about her and Bayley. Bayley tells Banks not to worry about it. Banks says Bayley is right and she can't wait to shut Bliss's mouth at SummerSlam. Now Bayley tells Banks she wants to be the women's champion as well, and Banks should definitely focus on tonight's match. Bayley says let the best woman win. Banks says the best woman will, and walks away. So you can see the tension. They're teasing that little conflict between Bayley and Banks again. They've done it many times, hinting that one of them's going to turn on the other. It never happens. But it didn't turn into too bad of a match. There were some botched moves in this match. But in the end, it wasn't too bad of a women's competition. They got more time than they usually do. Well, look at the last couple of women's matches in the show. It was squash matches all the way through. And at least they got a match. Now we go to another backstage segment. This time Jason Jordan is being interviewed and says he knows all eyes are on him tonight. Says the same line about butterflies that Angle said earlier on. Now Jordan says it's incredible and unbelievable all at the same time. Angle is his biological father. Now Jordan is determined and he is going to win his first match here on Raw. Then we go back to the locker room area again. Seth Rollins walks into the locker room and talk to Ambrose. Ambrose basically tells Rollins to go away. Rollins wants to talk, but Ambrose basically tells Rollins to go away again. Rollins says they have to worry about 3 guys tonight. Ambrose turns on Rollins and says he has to worry about 3 guys, but Ambrose has to worry about 4, and walks away. So there's your segments again. Like I said, a whole lot of talking. And that finally led us to the Women's Championship #1 Contenders match, Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Alexa Bliss comes out for the commentary. She doesn't really say much tonight, though, does she, Tyler? She addresses
no.
She addresses the answers thrown towards her, but doesn't really speak all that much. She was very intent on watching what the women were going to do to each other tonight, and it was, for the most part, a pretty good fight. Now, I wish these women would fight a little bit more like this, maybe with a little bit more intensity, because when you turn into NXT, those women actually put up a fight. You watch any Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott match, Ruby Riott versus Asuka, Ruby Riott versus Ember Moon. You can go on back and forth between just those 4 women, and wow, you get intensity. But Raw and SmackDown, the women's matches kind of fall flat. It's like everyone's given up. There's no competition anymore. Now, I want to get Tyler's thoughts on this match before we get going, because there was a lot of good spots in this match, but there was some botches made, and I don't know if Tyler's seen them, but I did. But they recovered pretty quickly, though.
I seen some botches. Oh, yeah, there were some botches in that match.
But they did manage to recover pretty quickly. It wasn't as bad as I'm going to make it sound, but they did recover pretty quickly.
Yep.
Now, we also seen Sasha Banks and Bayley's friendship kind of come to a little bit of a headway here, because they really started smacking each other around in this match. You seen Sasha Banks lay the first bitch slap down on Bayley, and Bayley quickly retaliated with one of her own, and they both kind of stopped and stared at each other for a moment after that. And then the fist just began to fly, and I love seeing that, because why put friendship in a match when it's a competition to be the best? You want to be the best, so slug it out. Give us what we want to see. And the women did give us, for the most part of this match, what we wanted to see. A good fight from them. and I can't complain too much about this match. What about you?
No, and it was a drag out. It was you could hear those slaps.
Exactly.
And you could hear those punches. Like
Now
you
Bayley
could freaking hear them. I even heard them.
Yeah. Now Bayley ended up winning the match. We got Banks hitting a frog splash on Bayley at the end of this match. Got to the 2 count. Bayley rolled it over and quickly got the 3 count. Bayley will go on to SummerSlam to face, man, I'm gonna call her Alexa Bliss. There we go.
Yep.
And after the match, both Bayley and Banks were just sitting there kind of staring at each other. So they're really teasing this whole breakup thing again. What are your thoughts on it? Are they going to actually go through this time, make Sasha Banks heel? Because I love Sasha Banks as a heel.
So do I.
But I'd actually like to...
She's way better as a heel. Way better.
I'd actually like to see Bayley turn heel, get rid of the childish gimmick, get a more mature, volatile gimmick, and really get in the face of her opponents from now on, because frankly, I'm tired of the blow-ups popping up at the beginning of the entrance, her being all, you know, hugger for life type deal and shit like that. I want her to take that pigtail out and actually be a woman and fight like a woman. Drop the confidence act, the lack of confidence act. Whoop the shit out of your opponents like we know you can, because she is a talented woman.
Oh yeah, she's talented, and she needs a turn heels.
Yes, she does.
She's not a child.
Now,
she's an adult. We're adults. Don't act like a child.
Exactly.
We can be a heel. You can be a great heel.
Now, even if they didn't turn her heel, but they went and actually gave her a more mature character, like a more mature build-up, she would still have the fans she has now, but I think she would gain a lot more because people are frankly sick of it. This baby childish act that she's got going. Now, I know it connects with the little kids, but she's not going to lose those little kids if she gets a more mature character. You know, it would not hurt her.
No, but it would not hurt her.
Banks looked extremely upset at the end of this match, but Bliss came down to the ring, confronted Bayley. Now, the words were exchanged, but you couldn't hear what was being said. Bliss holds her championship title up high, and basically a stare down. Could see that Bayley was still hurt, and she had to bend over, clutch her ribs a bit. But you got your pose for the SummerSlam prediction photos. So there's that. And then we move into backstage again. Kurt Hawkins says he's going to ruin Jason Jordan's debut here on Raw. And next week, or I should say tomorrow, everyone will be talking about Kurt Hawkins. Everyone's going to forget about Jason Jordan. What did we get? We got another very short match. Now, Jason Jordan ended up getting a bitch slap at the beginning of this match by Kurt Hawkins. And basically from there on, he got destroyed by Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan went into beast mode, kicked the crap out of Hawkins, and hit that modified neckbreaker. Picks him up like he's going to shoot a back suplex, turns it into a neckbreaker. Nicely done. Jason Jordan gets the win. Angle is shown backstage watching the match, and he's a very proud papa. But I don't know. I thought the intensity was there, but for a debut match for Jason Jordan in singles competition, they could have given someone better than Kurt Hawkins, and they could have made it a little bit more of a bigger deal.
Oh, totally. They could have made it a much more bigger deal than they did.
Now, after this, we get a in-ring segment by The Revival. Charlie's supposed to be interviewing them, but Dawson quickly sends her on her way. Says he and Wilder are good at this. They know the answers that Charlie's questions before, She even asks them. She isn't needed, shoos her out of the ring. Wilder and Dawson go on and on about how they are here to claim their spot as the top guys. Gallows and Anderson interrupt. Anderson says they couldn't sit backstage and listen to this anymore. Washington, D.C. is a good brother town, and they don't want to hear it either. The club says they did everything the Revival has done first. Gallows adds that all he sees in the ring are a couple of nerds. Now, I don't know. I kind of got the sense that they're trying to turn the club into baby faces now.
Yep.
I really don't understand the meaning of that because they really don't have the feeling of being faces. Hell, they didn't even get to really do a good job of being heels. They were used as jobbers for the most part. And now they're supposed to be baby faces as I'm taking it from this show. Made no sense at all.
No.
Now,
and I love Anderson and Gallows.
I do too. I've watched a lot of their matches from when they were in New Japan Pro Wrestling with the club. But
Yep.
But since they came to WWE, I haven't enjoyed anything that they've done. You know, really, calling people nerds these days is a compliment. It's not a sign of disrespect because look at the nerds of the world these days. I'm using the term nerds loosely because I don't look at them as nerds. I look at them as bright, intelligent people. And that's the way they're perceived these days. The punk kids that in the classroom, the loners that were picked on and called nerds back in the day, are usually more successful than the jocks and all the other guys that were big deals in high school and college. The nerds are running the world these days, and how is that a sign of disrespect by calling them a nerd? Really? But that transitioned into a Revival versus Anderson and Gallows match. Revival takes on the club. Wasn't a bad match. I got into it a little bit. It was, you could see the real brawl mentality of the Revival in this match. And I've been saying it since I've seen them. They remind me of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew back in the day. They've got that same mentality, the same kind of look. They don't have the size, but I mean, frankly, you look at Arn Anderson and his older brother Ole Anderson, and you look at the Revival. It's a good comparison for these guys. Now, I don't know if Tyler Black here remembers the Minnesota Wrecking Crew from back in the day, but just as intense.
I'm trying to think what year. I'm trying to think.
Oh, I'm thinking old WCW days there, buddy.
Okay, WCW.
WCW,
yeah,
NWA,
I think that's before. Yeah, because I was born in '91, so yeah.
Now, like I said, this was a nice knockdown, drag-out brawl between these guys. It looked pretty damn good. Now, near the end of the match, the Hardys appear on the stage. In the confusion, Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Anderson, take the win. The Revival standing tall at the end of this match. And on top of the stage, the Hardy Boys look at one another, and they come to the decision. They race down to the ring, and they take out Dash Wilder as well as Dawson. Matt Hardy hits the twist of fate on Wilder at the end. Jeff climbs to the top rope, ready to hit the Swanton Bomb, but Dawson pulls Wilder out of the ring, makes the escape, and a little bit of revenge goes to the Hardy Boys for the beatdown they received last week. Like I said, pretty good match between the club and the Revival. I like it that the Revival won. I want to see them win without having distractions involved because this is the next big tag team here in WWE, and I don't want to see them wasted like the club was. I really don't.
I like the Revival's a talented tag team too.
Yes, they are. Well, that's what I'm talking about. The
they are
Revival is a
talented.
great... They're the next top tag team in WWE. But I'm worried that they're going to be wasted like the club was. That's what I was saying.
But they might.
Now we get another backstage segment. This time Miz is giving Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas a little pep talk. And it all revolves around Miz being in the movies. And going on about how, you know, he got better reviews for The Last Marine. Or was it The Marine?
Yeah, Marine 5. Yep.
He got better reviews than Marine 5 than Tom Cruise did for The Mummy. The reason being that Hollywood is just as unoriginal as Ambrose is. And they're just going back and redoing things. Well, look at Buddy. Look at what you're doing. Miz steals moves from other people. He doesn't know how to come up with his own move set. He's got to take from people that like the Yes Kicks from Daniel Bryan. You know, there's so many moves he's stolen from Daniel Bryan already. He does a lot of things that others have done. His movies are all movies that John Cena started with, and he's just taken them over because John Cena's moved on to bigger and better things in Hollywood. And yet you want to call guys like Dean Ambrose unoriginal. Now, I've got my issues with Ambrose. Ambrose is a lazy wrestler, in my opinion. He could be so much better than he is. I don't know if anyone knows when he was playing Jon Moxley in the Indies. He put on a lot better matches then than he is now. Right now, he just comes off as a very lazy wrestler, and I hate saying it about the guy. But I don't know. His skills are just lacking to me. So, we go into Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose take on The Miz and The Miztourage. That is Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel with Maurice in their corner. This was the main event of the night, and it was, for the most part, not a bad fight. Okay, Miz and his Miztourage basically cut Seth Rollins off from Ambrose for a long time. And then when finally Rollins made the tag, it turned into a pretty good fight. And they ended up working well together in the end. They took the win and worked pretty cohesively together. But at the end of the match, Ambrose hugs Rollins twice. He looks all fired up after the win. Rollins sticks out his fist for the old Shield fist bump, but Ambrose glances at Rollins and rolls out of the ring. Rollins just stands in the middle of the ring, still holding his fist out, extended towards his partner of the evening. And Ambrose, I don't know, he came off as confused what he should actually do to take the win. I mean, to be friends. Like, should he reconnect with Seth Rollins or not? He looked confused at the end of what he should do. What are your thoughts about this match? What did you think about the whole fight between these two?
Between those guys, it was a decent main event. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was an exciting main event.
Like, you had your high spots in the match, and it went according to what I thought it would be. A nice, cut one guy off from the other for making the tag, and the Miztourage would basically clean house for the longest part. And then in a surprise comeback, you'd have Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose working together to actually get the win. Ambrose hits the dirty deeds for the win on this one. But Rollins, made the save at one point where Ambrose was about to get pinned after a skull-crushing finale. And saved the match and allowed to get Ambrose the dirty deeds for the win. So Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins took the win in that match. Like I said, it wasn't too bad of a match, but the rest of the show really fell flat for me. You had a really good start to the show with that brawl at the beginning, and then it just kind of dragged on and dragged on. The women did not too bad tonight, as in Bayley and Sasha Banks. And the main event, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins taking on Miz and the Miztourage, wasn't too bad. But you've got 3 hours there, and they gave us 3 spots to actually get into. That's a bad show.
Yeah,
If that's all
totally.
we deserve is 2 matches, or well, the Finn Balor match I missed, so I can't count that one, but 2 matches and a good brawl at the beginning of the show. If that's all we deserve out of 3 hours, they really need to rethink their strategy, cut back to 2 hours, worry less about all the promotional deals that you're getting and all the money you're making in that last third hour, and really concentrate on giving us more of a show. That's what I think.
Well, I did hear rumors that they're thinking about going back to 2 hours in 2019.
Wow,
I
that's
think.
a long time to wait.
Yeah.
Now, I do apologize to my subscribers that I didn't put out a Battlegrounds show, prediction show, as well as the result and reaction show. But frankly, like I said, there were so many people that already shit all over that pay-per-view. I didn't see the sense it made. And when I tried to rewatch the matches I missed, I started falling asleep all over again. So that's my reaction to Battleground. I have to agree with a lot of people. Yeah, there was a good tag team match between the Usos and the New Day, but frankly, the ending didn't make sense. I would have rather had New Day win the titles at SummerSlam, because right now the Usos have been the hardest working crew in SmackDown as well as Raw when it comes to tag teams. And then to basically just take it on away from them at a pay-per-view like Battleground made absolutely no sense. So you can tell from my reaction here tonight, I gave 2 shits about that pay-per-view. Now, to my my big dogs out there that are waiting so patiently, this weekend is our huge Bloodsport pay-per-view for Big Dog Wrestling using the PS4 WWE 2K17 game. I want to remind those that tune in that are expecting to have fantasy booking matches. That takes place on Thursday this week. I was going to do dark matches this week, but I also need to prepare for the pay-per-view itself. I want to include everyone in this first pay-per-view because it is our first and our biggest pay-per-view we're going to do. After this, it is only going to be those that are deserving. The top stars in Big Dog are going to be the ones that compete at the pay-per-views. So you might see on the first night some big title matches break down, and maybe we might have our first ever women's Royal Rumble to kick off the show, and a couple of tag team matches involved as well. So that will happen on Friday. We're going to do a 3-day event, and it's going to start on the 29th and go all the way to the 31st because, damn, there is just so much going on. You've got all 3 brands representing the heavyweight and the women's heavyweight titles. And after those 3 are done, the winners will face off in a triple threat match to crown the women's undisputed world champion as well as the men's undisputed world champion. And then you've got 3 tag teams to do. We've got 3 mid-card titles to take care of. And just maybe we have day 2, a very special women's tag team tournament to crown our first ever women's tag team, because I think, like I did with the women's singles title, that the women should be represented on the tag team as well, in the tag team roster. And as you know, 2K17 doesn't allow men versus women, so why not have our own women's division for the tag team? This has been Pete Wall. I want to thank Tyler Black for coming in. I did a little bit more talking than I thought I was going to be able to, but I thank you for your assistance there, Tyler.
Oh, you're fine, Pete. You're fine. And y'all can check me out at Tyler Black on YouTube. My podcast, Hit Squad Radio.
Yes.
So come check me out. And I do...
definitely you want to check out Hit Squad Radio. It's been a pretty good show. I help out Tyler with modding, and I do enjoy his show because he is genuine and he looks at it from a different perspective than I do. So that's why I like watching his show as well, because when it comes to his review on the shows, he has his own opinions on things as I have my own opinions. So check him out. Show a little bit of love to Tyler Black at Hit Squad Radio Wrestling. And he also does some shows with the 2K17 WWE game. Check him out on his show. This has been Pillar to Post. I thank you for joining me. I'm sorry that the show isn't as quite like it usually is, but as you can tell, my throat is killing me. I do got the flu, and I just want to, I don't want to stop doing these shows and make you guys worried. I'm pulling all the way from the shows that I regularly do. Big Dog Wrestling is a joint effort between YouTubers and Wrestler Unstoppable, and I know I've been focusing a lot on that, but it's just starting off, and I really want to get it to the point where there's a lot more interaction between myself and the people that are involved in it, as well as people that are tuning in to watch it. So thank you very much for tonight, and you can check out my oh geez. You can check out all my information in the description below. My sponsors are there. They are audibletrial.com/Pillar to Post, as well as Grapple merch. Make sure you check them out. They got some pretty damn good deals for you, and if there's anything else in there you want to check out, by God, you got my blessing. So have a good night all, and I will see you very soon.